What's up, you guys? We're about to do another solo bag drill. We're gonna rock and roll and jump right on the bag, focusing on introductory techniques like the round kick. All right, so we're gonna jump right on it. Let's go ahead and get started. So one of the most common mistakes I see with the roundhouse kick, especially in the first few levels, students aren't balanced and aren't rotating their hips correctly, okay? So a good drill for this would be make sure you can touch the bag with your lead side. We're gonna work on our rear roundhouse. And all I want you to do is turn and touch and balance and then push off, okay? So all I'm doing is touching. I'm not worried about power or speed. I'm worried about balance and form, okay? So I'm just turning and I push off. Now let's focus on our hands. The other thing I notice about a lot of students is your hands are really stiff. So you kick, there's so much tension, right? But try and relax. So maybe at first, don't think about having your hands up, just for the time being. Keep your spaghetti arms and just turn your body and relax and see what happens when your hands are relaxed. This same side kicking arm is gonna scissor with that kick because your body feels more natural rather than kick like that and it'll just turn, right? So we want that scissor technique to balance, all right? To counterbalance. Now my left hand on my hand that's in the lead side, right, opposite of my kicking side, is falling at my waist right now, but I want to try and just hold it up like I'm catching a ball or something. Like someone's throwing a ball at me, I'm just going to catch it at the same time, all right? Now I can have it up the whole time, so I'm just getting ready to catch that baseball, right? Like I'm a catcher waiting for that pitcher to throw a ball, right? But still, I'm relaxed. I'm not tense. I'm relaxed. So it's all about balance and moving. Your hands should be like this, right? Just flowing, not stiff like this with your whole upper body locked, okay? So just turning now. Now once you get a good rhythm, just pretend like you're bouncing a ball off a wall, right? Kickball or whatever you're imagining. Just bouncing. Just using that bag's inertia to give me some energy to reflect off of. And next, let's talk about the planting foot. My planting foot is not staying still. So watch this. If I just have my planting foot stand still, look at that. See my leg? It's just stiff, right? So I'm not getting as much power or torque as I could, but if I turn into it on the ball of my foot, my hips get open more. Using very little energy with my leg muscles, all I'm doing is rotating. So that's what I want you to do. Rotate, relax your upper body. Last part, the breathing. Want you to exhale, kia, whatever you want to do. Good. All right. So that's our rear side. The rear side is a little easier because if you come right back to your stance, it's loaded, right? Fire, loaded. Lead side's a little harder, especially if you stand bladed like this. The more bladed I am, the harder it is to turn my hips because I don't get enough distance. So what I like to do is open it up a little bit when you throw that lead roundhouse, okay? We have to shuffle our steps though, okay? If we just throw a lead roundhouse like this, it's not a lot of power or speed on it, and we're not gonna do a switch kick yet. We're just gonna step forward. So imagine, it's counterintuitive, but imagine this foot is the one that has to get loaded up. So to load it up, I need to push my energy forward. So I'm actually gonna step with my rear. See that? I'm gonna step with my rear foot at first. So it might look like to my opponent, I'm gonna kick him with this leg, which is good because it'll trick him, right? And you can hide it even more, you can make it more obvious. You can even lift this knee, and then this one kicks instead. Okay, now I'll just do it really smooth to where this foot replaces this foot and knocks into the bag right there. Now let me show you what I'm talking about. The more bladed you stand, right, the more you're cutting the bag in half with your hip pointed side to side with the bag. I have to adjust this, right, because it's not going to be much kind of torque right here. It's more like that, right? It's different roundhouse where I'm using more of that motion to get power. As opposed to if I open up my stance more, I'm a little more square, my hips are generating the power. Much more powerful, and I think less effort too. Because all I'm doing is turning my hips, okay? All right, I'm halfway there. So now we're gonna try the other version, which is the switch kick. Now the switch kick is when I'm actually gonna step back to get that wind up and that power, okay? Remember, the more you wind up or load or whatever, create distance, the more power you're gonna get. So to do that, instead of just stepping back and kicking, I'm actually gonna switch. I'm gonna step back and step forward. So I have this kind of like switchy stance moment, right? Where I'm in southpaw. And then, whoop, I'm gonna kick. Now this one's a little more of a tell, which means if you do it all the time, someone's gonna know you're doing a switch kick. So I like to mix it up, right? So I like to whoop, do that sometimes. I like to do the whoop, shuffle kick sometimes. Sometimes I might just step back whoop, and kick. So try all three versions. We got less than a minute left. Okay, I want you to shuffle forward, whoop, the pendulum kick. I want you to switch, whoop. And I want you to actually step back in southpaw, hit, and kick, which is the easiest one, but it's really obvious what's coming. But just try all three. Whoop. I'll go slow now so you can see kind of the difference. Whoop. Notice how I'm just worried about balance, right? Making contact, hitting with my shin, and whoop, breathing. And my hands are always up, at least my rear hand is. I'm swinging the other side down. All right, now let's talk about how to do roundhouses back and forth. So it's one of the weird things that either you're natural at it or you have to drill this a million times. If I think about this bag as a post that I'm balancing on, I'm gonna use that. Okay, I'm gonna use that to turn my hips and use it to rotate to the other side. So think about this. All I'm doing right now, see how I'm turning? My hips are turning towards the bag and my arms are turning too, and I'm touching the bag. So to do this, I want you to go really slow. I want you to turn your hips, touch, turn your hips, touch, turn your hips, touch, turn your hips, touch. And just go back and forth. If you get a really good rhythm and your bag is being nice to you and obeying the direction you're going in, then you can get a nice rhythm. And right now we're just getting used to what it feels like to throw roundhouses using a heavy bag and rotating. So I'm turning my hips, rotating, extending my same side kicking arm to either touch the bag and balance or use it to create some torque. Good, trying to keep that rhythm. So I just found the rhythm that my bag is swinging in, and I'm not trying to go too fast or too slow where the bag is falling to one side. And I'll show you what I'm talking about. If I did a really weird rhythm, you see what I'm talking about. Now I'm making the bag swing and it's awkward. I want to intercept it. I want to intercept the motion the bag is taking. There it is. Good, keep going. Many of you ask, should my foot hit the bag? Your foot will hit the bag, but your shin is the main contact point. Your foot should just wrap around the bag. 1 minute left. At 30 seconds, we're going to grab the bag and knee to the end. Almost there. All right, grab the bag. Knee till the end. Pull the bag into you. Almost there. Last 5 seconds. Finish strong. All right, now we're gonna focus. It's kind of easier sometimes to go left and right and rotate because we're using our energy to kind of push us to the other direction. But stay on one side, especially if you're fighting someone. It's not predictable. They don't expect you to kick them twice or 3 times on the same side. So we're gonna do one side for a minute, other side for the other minute, and 30 seconds, 30 seconds. We'll talk about what you need to do this. So when I want to do a repeat kick, let's do 2. I want to swing my hips back as fast as possible. So I want to go, right? To do that, I'm actually using my shoulder to aim for a second. My shoulder stays there. I drop my hip again and I kick again. So watch this. I'm going to use my rear shoulder when I execute the kick to stay there. So, and then my hip is the one that rewinds back into place. That enables you to do a quick follow-up kick. All right, so I'll do it again. And we can do it 3 times too if you want. So my hips are doing all the work. I'm using that kind of rear shoulder now. Is kind of like I'm aiming like a scope. Like I'm shooting that bag with this shoulder and I'm loading it up again with my hips. All right, we're gonna try the other side. That was about a minute. Same thing, but if I'm using my lead side, I'm gonna have to rewind. I'm gonna have to go back to a different stance or southpaw. But the technique is the same. I'm keeping my lead shoulder aimed forward. This shoulder is pointing at the back, okay? The only thing that moves back are my hips. And notice on my arm, I'm doing a scissoring motion. The more you scissor, faster you can get it going. If your arm is going with your leg, imagine you're dragging all this weight at the same time. That scissoring motion creates a balance of energy, right? Where I can snap it right back. 15 more seconds. Let's do 2 now. 3. Let's do 4. All right, now every 30 seconds, we're gonna switch. Now I'm just gonna go back to my right. Let's do a couple pairs of these. We'll try 3. Let's try 4. And let's try 5. Good. All right, let's finish up with the other side now. I want to try and do that snapping technique. This time, let's do a ladder. Let's go 1 up to 5. 1. Let's do 2 now. Let's do 3. Let's do 4. And 5. Good. Other side. Do 2. Other side 2. Other side 2. Woo! All right, guys. So this whole class focused on round kicks and rock and roll, jumping around the heavy bag. There'll be more of these to come. See you guys.